Hello everybody, how are you today? It is Sharon here, Sharon Hankins from the blog I Restore Stuff, where you can see upcycled furniture and home decor and how I love to do that. And I've just forgotten my microphone, so I'll just pop that on here and you'll be able to hear a lot better. All right, let's see who's joining us today. Just checking over here on my Facebook page, make sure we're live properly. Excuse my voice today. Since I left you last week, I have been sick with the flu. It was just horrible. I don't think I've been that sick for a very long time. So I'm feeling so much better today, even though my voice sounds horrible. I've had a bit of a still lingering cough and a little congested, but we are here today and ready for a DIY live. I hope you've all been well. It kind of knocked me out in bed for several days. Hello, Elisa and Sharon. Thank you so much for sprinkling. Yes, to those people who love to share our lives. We love it when you do that. Just hit that little share button. Send it out to your friends and family on Facebook. So if I am all of a sudden quiet and need to take a drink, it's because of this little throat thing that I'm still getting over. Hello, Linda and Angie. How are you? Just going to pop this on over here so I can see our comments coming through properly. And I think we're good to go. Let me know if you are crafting tonight. I don't know, maybe you can see some of the things that I've got down here on the table. I'd love to remind you too of my code I Restore Stuff, where you can save 10% on even already discounted prices at Essential Stencil. That includes their brushes, all of their transfers, rub-on transfers, their rub-on transfer tool. I'll be using transfers today. Speaking of transfers, I wanted to let you know, if you haven't already heard, I've got 5 right here. There are 5 full rub-on transfers that have been restocked, and they've collected them all together in a bundle so that you can save even more. I think it's something crazy like 25% you'll save. Plus, if you use my code, you'll save an extra 10% on these. So the rub-on transfers that are back in stock are some favourites from last year. We've got, and you can see some of mine have been cut already. We've got the sunflowers, so that's 2 sheets of sunflowers. We have this cute design, cozy fall farmhouse, with 2 sheets worth of just gorgeous coziness. We have the pumpkins and the gourds, pumpkin harvest, that one's called, with 2 sheets of pumpkins. Then we have the Farmstead General Store with the huge turkey, which is so cute. And then the last one is this autumn market with the pumpkin patch on it. And so those are 5 old transfers that have been restocked, because you know that they're single use only, so you rub them on. Once it's done, it's done. These are just come in a single sheet, this one and this one. They're a single sheet, the other 2 are double sheets. So there's a whole bunch of transfers there that you can use. I'll be using some of these today on our projects, but they've bundled them all together. So if you want to grab that bundle, use my code I Restore Stuff. It is right there in the description of the live or in the pinned comment. It will be in the pinned comment. Good evening, Eleanor. Thanks for saying hello. Hi, Christy. Kathy's here. Cheryl and Angie. Oh, great day in Arizona, but you're dealing with more fires. That's no good. Okay, so let's have a look. Thank you, Sharon, for asking if I'm feeling better. Hope I'm feeling better soon. Yes, thank you so much. I am feeling so much better than I was. I mean, I remember last week that I was just starting to get something. Well, it was all downhill from there for like about 3-4 days. I was out to it. And now I'm back on track and feeling a lot better, just sounding horrible. Ronil says, I need to order the bundle. Thanks. Yes. So don't forget, use my code, I restore stuff. Or just use the link right there and that'll automatically add your code discount at the checkout. So that is one thing that we're going to do today. I don't know if you can see these behind me. I've got some crates. So we'll be doing some crates today. I might even start with this large big crate today. And I wanted to put on it this autumn market. Now, I have one of these that I cut off the bottom. I cut off the pumpkin patch at the bottom and used it for something else. And so I was going to use this leftover portion of that on this crate today. So let's see if I can start with that. We'll move this across. And then I have this fall stencil, pattern stencil that I love. But I want to show you something with that as well on the other side. So let's get started over here. I just need to see. I might have to stand up for this one, won't I? I'll see if I can see my visual is delayed right beside me, so I can't see until it actually shows me on the camera what you can see. Okay, I think we're in the shop. It almost looks like a fisheye lens is being used on this on Facebook at the moment because it makes me look elongated or something. Anyway, so like I said just before, I just have the top half of this left, which is perfect size for this crate. So see how it just fits perfectly like so. And I have stained this crate. Now this is from IKEA. So IKEA usually has these wooden crates that have nice little handle on the side. And they have a small version, which I have here. They have a smaller version of the crate. And I've stained these. So they were ordinary pine, but they sort of lock together if you go sideways like that. And they allow for it to slide across. I don't know if you knew this. So you could even use it as a, potatoes and, vegetable storage for pantry or shelving or something like that. And this is not an advertisement for IKEA, but if you have one close to you, I don't know if they ship locally. Anyway, I'm in Australia, if you didn't know that already. And we have IKEA over here, and I know that you've got it over there, although it's not everywhere, so I don't know if they ship. But anyway, you can find crates like this all over the place. So, hey Bobby, how are you? First time this week that you can see comments and can say something. Well, I'm so glad I saw your comment because I don't get to see all the comments that come through. See if I need to just bend this down slightly. Can see our transfer. All right, so I'm going to have the pumpkin, flowers and fresh produce down the bottom, and yes, it does fit nicely at the top. So all I have to do, and we are going to have, obviously we've got these big gaps in here, so I'm hoping, oh look, you know what, open daily is not going to fit on there. So what I could do is cut those areas off because they're going to be cut off anyway. So what I could do is mark them, and let me see if I can just mark that top edge there so that it stays, and then I can mark this edge here. If that doesn't work, I will just get my trusty ruler, and now because it's a pen on plastic it's not going to work, so what I could do is turn it over and I can see my marking where I've marked it at the top. And then I can add those words open daily somewhere else. So what I'm going to do is, and lucky this is a really long ruler, is I will just cut this in those areas where it's going to be a gap. And then it's possible that I can just use some of those words for other things or just elsewhere on the crate. And I could use painter's tape to tape this down as I do this. So I'm just marking the back of my transfer, because these are going to have some little gaps here. And so instead of, you know, just putting it on and wasting those gaps where I could just keep them, I'm going to cut this along these lines, and then these words open daily I could use. I probably won't use that section that's going to be missing from the bottom, but let's have a look how this works out. We'll just cut this one first. Slow cutting. Got to get it. So this will be my bottom section. This one will be cut off. It doesn't have to be perfect because our edges will just be going over the edge anyway. So this would have been this gap here. So I don't know, you could maybe use that as a border for something. I'm sure there's some crafters out there who will just think of some amazing creative ideas to do with that little piece that I just cut off there. You could even use it as an edge for a bookmark or something like that, you know. And I can see through this now, so I will have that. Now I'm just going to make sure that I put it up the correct way. Yes, there we go. And then this one little part here where I can see open daily will just be saved. Just be saved. Okay, so I'll just see if I can get on the right side of this line. So I've pre-stained my crate box here with just using a paint wash. You know that I love to use the Fusion Mineral paints because I'm a retailer for those here in Australia. But I do use like one of their brown colours. This is probably Woodwick that I've stained this with. So here's our autumn market at the top here. That'll fit perfectly. And then we've got these open daily, which I could add here and here, or I don't know, something like that. I think that I could use those words there. And again, some just little fall looking thing that we could add somewhere else we can keep on the bottom. Okay, so let's have a look at this. We'll start with this top one here and just removing the backing. Centering it as best I can. And I'm going to use our Essential Stencil . Oh, Bobby says, thank God for paper cutters. Yes, true. You can use a paper cutter, that would be better. Now, I am just missing a slight bit at the end here. I did put it down a little bit further than my line, but let's see, I could even just add that to the box. Those little bits on the end, they can tuck underneath. Okay, let's come back from this way, and we've got, seems my crate's a little wobbly on the table. Oh. Now, once you get the first little bit going, it's usually fairly easy to get the rest. As long as there's nothing oily or greasy on the surface, make sure your surface is always nice and clean. I did stain this crate a long time ago, and once I've put my transfer on my crate, I'll seal it usually with some Fusion Tough Coat sealer. Comes in a matte or a gloss. Yep, this one's not sticking in that just section there. So yeah, like I said, I stained these a long time ago, so I'm not sure if I've got anything on the surface since then. Forgot to clean it before I started today. But I think we're going great. Okay. PJ says, I love transfers so much. I love them too. It really adds a whole new dimension to this crate, which can just be a beautiful fall crate for, say, I don't know, think of some ideas. Let's brainstorm some ideas in the comments, what you would use such a crate for. Like, yes, Christy, I think I did do something similar with the lavender transfer this spring. So this fall crate, you could use it for blankets in the living room. That's my thought. Some just nice throws that you could roll up and put inside. You could use it in the bathroom for towels, hand towels, soaps. You could use smaller crates for a similar thing. You could actually use it for your fruit and veggies or something. Lots of great ideas. What about a hamper for a loved one as a gift? Birthday gift or similar. I just caught a little piece that had not laid down properly, so just go back over that. Thank you, Ronnie. I think it's going to be lovely. I can't wait to see what you're thinking for a crate like this, what you would use it for. Is it difficult to rub on transfers on grooved wood edges? This wood's flat, but if you did have some wood with some grooves in it, I would just go in between the grooves in long motion. Something like that. Okay, so we've got all of that one off. Now you might be able to see some of that edging, or actually you can probably just see more where I've rubbed, and it sort of shows a rubbing motion on the wood where I've used the tool. So just be careful of that. But I think that would all come off when I go over it with a sealer. That's often the way. Okay, so we're just removing our backing again, making sure we've got it up the right way. Centering it as best we can. Which doesn't matter so much with pumpkin. Oop. Oh, Maggie, you've got them for storing stencils in. That's a great idea. Stencils in packages. Yes, they might fit, Gloria, in this size. I'm not sure. We'll have to have a look. If you have, so for example, this stencil here, let's have a look. Yes, it'll fit perfectly inside that size. Oop. Time is key. Patience is the key. Just getting those edges nicely laid down. If they're not laid down properly, just rub over it again. And I just notice how I just touch it over the edge there. You could use it to store wood for the fireplace. Perfect. Great idea. Not many fireplaces in Queensland where I live. Just a fun fact. We're in it's almost a tropical climate, I guess, with hardly any cold to our winters. We have very, very mild winters. So we are just at the end of our winter here, winter season. And it never snows, so that's something we don't see either. Just concentrating on those little bits that are wanting to stand up and stick onto the plastic, and we want to lay them back down and just try that again. Okay, this seems like it's all coming off nicely. It's just those edges that are sometimes tricky, those parts that have little edges coming around. They want to just stand back up again. But this is all going on nicely now because all this area is one big piece. Martha says, I need to find a large crate now. Yes, it's it. I think it would be a great place to store throws. This is perfect climate weather. You guys are very lucky, Reneel says. Yeah, it is lovely. Lovely weather. Sunny outside today. We had a storm last night. You'd think it was spring or something, but it's not. Soon, we're about to hit spring when you guys hit fall. So we're all in opposite seasons. I don't know if you knew that, being down under here on the opposite side of the equator. And again, we're coming to the edges, and so this is where we just need to be careful that these pieces all stay down and don't come back up. Don't forget that we're giving away prizes to 3 lucky winners at the end of our live. So don't go anywhere. Join in the comments because that's where Essential Stencil will choose our winners from today. And there we go. We've got that second part on. Just going over those edges with my fingers to make sure it's all laid down. But this is going to look amazing. And see if I can get down again a little bit. Whoop. Probably too close now. Tearing off plastic backing. Lining up our pumpkins so that they look like it's going to match the top part. And I think that's about right. You'd never have thought about cutting the transfer to fit the wood slats, Marthy. Yes, so I did think of that last minute, but I have done that before, only because I saw that I was going to miss those words open daily. I don't know if you can see that down the bottom. And so I thought, why don't I just cut that? And so I turned it over to market, if you missed that at the beginning. Then I'll do some stenciling in a minute to show you the other side of the crate and an idea that you could use for your fall decor. Or sometimes what I like to do is create crates that are double-sided, so you could have it facing this way for fall and then turn it around and face the other way for a different season or a different holiday, or just, you know, an everyday kind of truck transfer or something, farmhousey. Or stencil, lots of ideas. Eleanor was asking, how hot does it get in the summer? It gets like your Florida weather, and it not only is hot, but it's a very, very humid heat up here in Queensland. And so a lot of people think, oh yeah, it feels hot, but then when it's humid, it's like a whole another level. And so, yes, we use Celsius here, so I'm not familiar with much of the Fahrenheit, but I believe it's up it does reach 40 degrees sometimes in Celsius, which I think is over 100 probably in Fahrenheit. And then the humidity, crazy. That feeling when you want to cool down and you have a shower and then you get out and you think, I've just perspired all over again. Feels like I've not even had a shower. And our summers are quite long. It almost starts mid-spring. And therefore our winters are very short. So like I say, I've barely pulled out my warm jacket this season. And I like to joke that we get about 2 weeks of winter. That's what it feels like. Just now my arms are starting to ache. Anyone else? I feel like I'm rubbing too hard. I'm putting too much effort into this. A lot of effort. Let's try left-handed. There we go. Oh, I wasn't sure if I could do this with my left hand. I'm impressed with myself. Just to come back from the other side. It's like those sneaky little edges want to pull back up. The colours are beautiful in this stencil. So I'm thinking about the colours for my, transfer. Thinking about colours for the reverse of this crate, where I want to do that fun fall pattern stencil that you can see down below. It's called Sunflower and Vine Pattern. So yes, it's got sunflower and vine on it. Sometimes these take hardly any time, and then other times it just wants to stick back down. Like I said, make sure your surface is really nice and clean with no greasy grime or resistant kind of waxes or anything on the surface. What else have you guys been working on? Don't forget Halloween stuff's coming out. We've had sneak peeks available there. And if you missed that this week, some of the other ambassadors have been doing lives using the new Halloween sets. So if that's for you, you can grab those. I think they come available Saturday. Is that right? We are almost finished here, guys. Oh, little sneaky edge coming up again. It's so tricky trying to do this on a live because you want it to hurry. And then sometimes you just got to take patience and enjoy the conversation down there in the comments. And I hope you're crafting on something else while I'm doing this. Don't go anywhere because we've got some giveaways at the end of our live. to 3 lucky winners $20 gift cards for Essential Stencil, where you can use one little bit that didn't come off. There we go. Yeah, nice. That's going to look great. I can't imagine what you guys will have for Christmas, Janice says. Oh, are you talking about the stencils or... All right, so we've got all of that done. And that is from one of the transfer sets that is available in a bundle of fall transfers that have been restocked. So there's 5 in the bundle, 5 transfer sets actually in the bundle. And you can grab those anytime now, I believe. Yeah, they're right there. I've got the link to the transfer in the pinned comment. I hope it's pinned right there. You can check that out. Okay, so this is the other side of our crate. So let's work on that. Oh, actually, I was going to do the open daily, wasn't I? Just these 2 little words that I found as I cut out here. So let's just add that somewhere on here. Don't want to get the other little bits on. You might find some other ideas for those little offcuts down there as well. So we could put that just out to the side, I think. Right here. Open. Ding. Open and then daily. Around about that same distance, I mean. And that way it doesn't go to waste. You could also use it for another sign that you might have found. There we go. That's all done. So now, on the other side of our crate, we could just set these aside. Might find a use for them. Excuse me while I grab a glass of my water. Now this is the sunflower and vine pattern. I've put the link to this in the comments, pinned comment in the description of the live also. One of our beautiful patterns that came with the fall bundle this year. And I'd love to just do something fun on the other side of this crate. Now you could repeat the pattern and just make it go across the entire thing. For right now, I'm just going to give a lovely big old swirl all over this side. I'm going to tape that down. Make sure it doesn't go in there. We do have those gaps in the middle again. I'm going to first of all start with a white base. So I'm just going to pop down some Fusion Mineral Paints Casement White so that I've got a base to work with. And then, I mean, I don't mind if it's even all white. I think that's a great idea as well. But we can have the opportunity to add to it. So I'm going to use one of our large brushes, 7/8 inch brush. And I'll use a offloading piece of cardboard. It's just some packaging from our stencil arrival. and dip the brush in the paint, offloading. If you've watched our lives for any length of time, you'll know that one of the keys to good stenciling is hardly anything on the brush. So that's what we've got, hardly anything on the brush. I do have a bunch still here that I can use in a minute. I'm going to start over this end and just start swirling around because I've got hardly anything on the brush. It's not going to bleed underneath the stencil. Bobby, you just got this stencil yesterday. That's great. Amazing. I can't wait to see what you all do with these. So here I am, just swirling. Oh, I feel like I got a lot on the brush that time. So we'll see. This should go all the way across to the other side. And you only really need to go on those areas, obviously, where the stencil is. So you can see that I'm just going on the top part of this crate, and there's a gap in the middle of the slats. So we don't need to go on that area. Just adding a little bit to the brush to get these last bits. I've got the vine. Now I'm using white as a base, and then if I want to go over in some colour, I can do that after I've got my white down. That's one part. Next part over here, making sure I get all of the vine right through to any sunflower that's coming across the slat. Add a bit more to the brush and always offload it onto your cardboard. Making sure you're working with a dry brush. And rework it over any areas you think look too light. You can just go over it. Need a little more, so I've got some more on the cardboard there. Add that on. And then our last area to do is down on that bottom slat. And like I said, we could always just add to the sides of this and extend the stencil either side. Or you can just leave it like a feature, like this in the centre. I like how these sunflowers fit pretty much in the centre of those. If you have too much on your brush, it's going to bleed underneath and cause fuzzy edges. We want nice crisp edges, so hopefully I haven't got too much on my brush at any time. Kind of learn after lots of practicing how much to put on your brush and how much you can get away with. Okay. Oh, Angie, thank you so much for using my code at Fusion Mineral Paint as well. Yes, you can use that same code at Fusion Mineral Paint and get 10% off the paint. So there we go. There's our beautiful white sunflower pattern and vines on the reverse side of this crate. Now you could just leave it at that, or we could add a little bit of fall colour to it. So let's just see if we could add a touch of fall colour. And I've just noticed, I can see I have used slightly a little too much on my brush in a couple of those spots, as I can see little dots there, which have probably now dried anyway, so all good. So to add some more colour to that, let's just put that down again, right where it was. And I'm going to use the colour Chestnut Mare. Let me just pop that there and see if you can see that. It's a gorgeous fall colour, I think. Just popping this brush in a wet cloth. Gorgeous fall colour. I've also got this colour Conservatory, which I think is great for fall. So you could use this for your vine colour, and you could use this for your sunflower colour. Although I know it's a little dark for sunflowers, probably should have used like a brighter yellow or something like that. In fact, let me run and get the yellow. It's called Little Star. Yes, I can open it. Great, because that's always a problem, sometimes a problem. But I do love this chestnut mare fall colour, and I think that I could use that in the centre of them. So I might even start with that, with just a small dab of paint on a brush. Look at that beautiful chestnut mare. There's another colour called Iron Clay, which is very similar. Maybe yellow and orange centres for the flower and green vines. Yes, I was going to use this in the centre part here because I think that'll be lovely. Okay, offloading that. And we want it as dry as we can. And I'm just going to go gently. So I don't want to have really a lot of... it doesn't have to be solid coverage. And that white that I've laid down underneath is going to serve as a nice background to make this colour pop a little bit more. There we go. So there we've got those colours done. With another brush. Let's go with that yellow. Little Star, bright, nice bright yellow. And probably just a slightly larger, but not too large. Our 3/4 inch brush should be good for this. Oh, got a great big blob on here. Let's see if I've got room left on this piece of cardstock. Nice bright sunny yellow for our sunflowers. And again, let's see if I've got this in the right angle. And I'm not being too concerned about my brush going into any of the other colours. I'm sort of just making it all just blend together. Okay, so we've got our yellow over here. Again, because we've got that white background, I think it's going to stand out nicely without having to worry about, you know, sometimes if you're doing the yellow on just that plain wood, it might not stand out as much. Don't forget our little bit of sunflower that's on this slat as well. So we just got to go through, make sure we've got them all. Going around. So we've started at the centre. Just dampening my brush on the wet cloth because my yellow is slightly, really, it's quite thick after being an opened pot for so long. And there's some more. Okay, I can't wait to see how this turns out myself. Now for that green, shall we? So the Conservatory is the colour green that we've chosen here. Conservatory. for the vines. Okay. Yeah, someone else mentions the paints that I'm using, and yes, I do, Brenda. I also use an Australian brand of chalk paint over here that you can't get in the USA, so I don't usually like to put that on my lives because otherwise people ask, where can I get that? And then I have to disappoint you all. So I use the Fusion because people are always asking about these colours anyway. They're gorgeous. Here's Conservatory. And I will use a little bit of the smaller one. So this is a 1/2 inch brush. And we'll go over our vines. Again, you don't have to do any of this colouring. You could just use the white. I think it looked great with white as well. And so we're going to just go over our vines. And they are kind of all in between all of the other things. Again, I feel like I need to just dampen my brush because this is a bit thick. Making sure the brush is dried off as much as we can. And once it's dried off, you can just swirl as much as you like, which makes it go super fast. And we might see a little bit of white peeking through. We might see a little bit of the green looking all vintage-like and rustic. Dampen that with my wet cloth. See if I can get some more green showing on the brush. There we go. It just allows it to swirl a little bit more easily if my brush, if the paint isn't so thick, and because it's been in the pot for so long, it sometimes dries out because there's hardly anything left in a furniture paint pot, and so as it dries out it gets a lot thicker as the air is in the pot. Thank you, Gloria. She's written down, sharing with Donna, that the paint does have a built-in top coat, so it's kind of got a sealer all in one. However, when I'm stenciling, so that's perfect for furniture. You know, you don't have to use a sealer on top of it. It's a bit different than chalk paint, which is a porous finish, whereas Fusion isn't porous. It's got that built-in top coat. So it's not necessary to add your waxes and your sealers, but it's optional. So if you want extra protection, you can add their tough coat sealer on top of your furniture projects and stuff, and so on. Okay, but with my signs and my stencils, I tend to seal them anyway. Just gives a little, it sort of seals and adds a bit more of a finished look to it, as well as does seal in your project. All right, who's ready to have a look at, see how this has turned out? And ta-da, there we go. So we've got beautiful vine. Now, I think it did stand out a lot better when we just had the white, but you can see little peaks of white showing through there. And I think that still looks lovely. And again, you could just repeat this pattern over onto the sides. So let's have a look. Let's see if we've got any more comments on those. Bobby, you say I'm a swirler, not a pouncer. Me too. I'm a swirler. The base colour of the crate, Fran, is Woodwick in Fusion Mineral Paint, and I've watered that down to create a wash. So that's what I believe I did that. I did that a long time ago. So, and if you missed earlier, we've done our fall transfer over here. And again, I'll seal the entire lot when we're finished. Let's see if I can find my next lot of projects that I was going to do. And let's see, if I point this down here. Don't forget my code. Now, I did have this sheet music here, and some cardstock, and I just thought I'd have some fun making some cards with some of these fall transfers from the Cozy Fall Farmhouse transfer set. They just look adorable. So I'll pull out both of those. Now these, if you missed earlier, there's a fall transfer bundle restock, huge restock of all 5 of these different fall transfer sets. We've got the Pumpkin Patch Farmers Market, we've got the sunflowers, we've got the pumpkins and the gourds, and then we've got the homestead turkey, and then of course this one, which is called the Cozy Fall Farmhouse. Aren't these adorable? The cutest. Love this window. You can use some of the sayings from my Remember My Home collection. Would look so cute with something like that. We've even got this beautiful fall book and glasses. Imagine a card for a reader or someone who loves reading. We've got these gorgeous boots. Someone who loves maybe working in the garden or hiking. You can create cards. Look at the fall cozy sweater. So many fun ideas. Bicycle. Anyway, I wanted to know what it might look like, and I've got a bit of a cardstock background here that I did something else with some time ago. But I found this sheet music, and I wondered what it might look like if I added something like that to a card. So I just bought some, this cardstock that you can purchase and then cut it up and create little gift cards, and so I've done that. Created some gift card looking things. Now, this is not really the correct colour, I did notice, for what I want to do with the fall. No, not going to work. So let's see what other colours I have in here. Did not think about that at all before I grabbed these out. Cheryl says, do people still send cards? I don't know. But I'm thinking a birthday card, and it happens to be fall, or you could use it for gift card making, just a transfer idea anyway of what you might like to use transfers for. But anyway, you could add this to a piece of cardstock. So let's have a look at our, where's my scissors gone? I do not want to get this paint splattered on anything, so put that right out of my way. But let me have a look at what we could add to this. I just like this umbrella. What about the umbrella with the fall leaves? That might look cute. To see how that might look on sheet music. I'm not sure how it's going to stand out, so bear with me. We will see. This one's got a lot more music without the heading. Actually, the song is called He Will Never, Never Leave Me. I think it's from a hymn book, which is kind of fitting with the umbrella. How many feel like sometimes you've got to just scoop up under God's umbrella of protection or something? He will never, never leave me. I think that's cute. Let's just have a look and see if our fall umbrella might look cute. I'm not sure how it's going to stand out because we've got that sepia tones of the sheet music, and this is real sheet music, but you could just print out copies of something like similar. Oh, Sandy, you love making cards for your grandkids and sons and their wives. Great idea. I remember that my mother-in-law used to send Thanksgiving cards and so on, so look, there we go. Let's just see how it might turn out. And then we will be finished. But just wanted to try something fun with transfers again. There's so many ideas for these gorgeous transfers. Add them together with stencils. Now I do have a cardboard behind the sheet music so that it sort of gives it a bit more of a stable background to rub against. So there's an idea for you. These are tiny little leaves, fall leaves coming up. We'll see how it turns out. Little fall coloured splashes on here as well, so trying to get every one of those little markings. Of course this would be great on a plain background as well. Plain white background would look lovely. At the edge of our umbrella. How are you going? You're all hanging in there? Thank you so much for your patience with me today. I made it through with my voice being a little bit on edge. Just starting to feel a little tired after a huge week of not being well. And all the energy I'm putting into my transfers today. Kathy says cards are easy and there's so many different crafting elements you can use. Absolutely, so many. Thank you guys so much for being here in the comments for me today. Yeah, these are really cute and they do come in the transfer bundle if you want to save like 25% for the 5 different fall bundles that have been restocked, or you can get them singly. Yes, again, I've chosen a background. I feel like it's just a little bit similar. So that sepia tone is kind of really not letting the umbrella stand out and be a big feature, but I think you could also add a splash of paint to background it. I've done that before, is just kind of splashed a little bit of paint over the music sheet. And you can still see the music sort of in the background, but it'll be like just a swish of paint in there, and that just gives a little bit more of some substance for your transfer to adhere to, or your stencil, whatever else you want to put on the sheet music as a background. Almost finished. We are almost there, you guys. So don't go anywhere. We are going to be picking some winners very soon. Come on, little leaves, stay there. Oh, I think we're there. I think we're there, and we've done well. Let me hold that up for you. So you can kind of see through the background, through the umbrella to the sheet music, but isn't that adorable? I think it worked out pretty cute. So there are a few ideas there that you can take with you from our live tonight. Don't forget to use my code, I Restore Stuff. Save 10%. That includes off the transfer bundle that's already hugely discounted as it is. Let's check our winners tonight on our live and have a look again at what we've created. So we did our crate and we've done a transfer on the front, and this is also one of the transfers included in the bundle. So let me have a look. Let me know if we can see some winners that we can pick those now. And then we've done our stencil as well, using the sunflower and vine stencil pattern stencil. And then we did a little bit of a transfer on sheet music to show you what that might look like. Yes, and absolutely you can put some kind of wording above it. You could tear the edges of this and then adhere it to the front of a card. So many different fun ideas. All right, our winners tonight. Congratulations to our winners. We've got Marthy, Linda and Penny. So Marthy, I remember you being here right from the beginning, so thank you so much for sticking around. And Linda and Penny, you can email support@essentialstencil.com and they will send you a gift card. Let them know you were a winner on Sharon's live tonight. So thank you guys so much for your patience tonight and for being here and for all your get well wishes. And I'll see you again next week for a live DIY project. Can't wait to see you again. Bye.